1961, when the real madmen and madwomen too made the greatest brands of all time. Cars and airlines, cereal and cities, cigarettes, chewing gum. It didn't matter. They sold more than anyone in history, and their brands are still here today. Because they found the ultimate secrets of branding. But then a funny thing happened. The digital revolution, media chaos, and the secrets all but disappeared. Until now. Welcome to the Brand Titans Master Course.
Hi, I'm Bill Schley, and I was personally taught by the Titans at the legendary Ted Bates Advertising in New York.
He's a New York Times bestselling author, award-winning ad writer, creator of over $1 billion in brand value, and he's going to teach you everything.
Bill Schley is a common sense genius.
Learn the psychology of branding.
It's not what people hear, it's what they repeat that counts.
Rules they don't teach.
No matter how much information you give them, when you finish your pitch, people only remember one thing.
How Titans tell stories.
I can't believe I ate that whole thing.
Take 2 Alka-Seltzer.
How to name your product.
Just imagine your name and your elevator pitch in one.
Write legendary taglines.
So you can tell your whole story in a sentence, or less.
And master the greatest tool of all, microscripts.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Friends don't let friends drive drunk. Microscripts give you just enough information in the least number of words to change a mind or take action.
And much more.
Because technology changes every day, but the truth never does.
For CEOs, entrepreneurs, and marketers, it's the only branding course you'll ever need. The Brand Titans Master Course.
I'll see you there.
Now here's Bill with a special one-class preview called The Granite Pages, the 6 Rules of Everything.
Ever watched a great movie called The Karate Kid? It's about a boy named Daniel who asks an old Japanese man to teach him karate so he can fight the bully in the big match. Now, of course, he only has 3 weeks to do it. So the next day, Daniel shows up for his lesson, but the old guy makes him wax his car and paint his shed instead. Left hand, right hand, wax on, wax off, he says. You see, the master knew that nobody could learn 100 karate moves in 3 weeks, but they could learn 3 deep principles from which all the rest would follow. Folks, it's the same in sports, brain surgery, or branding. The best performers simply do the fundamentals better than anybody else. In branding, those fundamentals are bits of psychological wisdom about what people want, how they remember, and why they choose. But now, none of us have to invent these fundamentals on our own. We just use the ones that titans like Rosser Reeves, David Ogilvy, and Mary Wells gave us after 1 million campaigns for 1 million products. We call them the Granite Pages. And here are the 6 most important ones of all. In branding, the number 1 is holy. It holds all the answers because we humans have a love affair with number 1. We're fascinated by the first man on the moon, the winner of the Kentucky Derby, the first to climb Mount Everest, the gold medal winner, but almost no one that follows. We reward number 1 out of all proportion. I mean, if you win a golf tournament by a stroke, you're not twice as good as the losers, but we give you more prize money than all the rest combined. Our entire culture is built on being number 1 in some specialty if we want to be important or influential. So naturally, so must your brand. Now here's Granite Page number 2. It's my favorite, the 1 item of carry-on rule. When you're talking about your brand, no matter how much information you offer, when you've finished pitching, people only remember one thing. Ask the average person who's just read a 500-page book on Abraham Lincoln who he was, and they'll answer. He freed the slaves. Do you remember the O.J. Simpson trial? The prosecution spent 9 months laying out a case that was so detailed that no rational person could possibly fail to convict him on the evidence. Except, of course, the jury. because for them, it was all erased by the one thing to remember that the lawyer, Johnny Cochran, gave them instead. Johnny Cochran said, "You can retain 10,000 bits of evidence, or I'll save you the trouble. And just remember one thing. OJ was framed by the LA cops." And then he gave them a famous tagline so they'd remember what to do.
Remember these words. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
The jury took that one item of carry-on and they left 10,000 bits of information on the curb, and OJ went free. The point is, you can give people 1,000,000 facts and figures, but when they walk away, their brains will morph it down to one piece of mental carry-on that they put in the overhead bin. So, find your brand's one best idea and give them that one. Next up is Granite Page number 3, the dominant selling idea. And this is a biggie. If you want to have a selling brand, something that people want to buy, then your difference needs to be what Rosser Reeves used to call a unique selling proposition. Now, we updated it a bit and we renamed it a dominant selling idea. And we broke it into 5 simple parts to make it easier to teach. So a dominant selling idea is simply this. Number 1, it's superlative. You're number 1 at what you do, the best at something. Number 2, it's got to be important. That means what your number 1 is something I really want. Number 3, it's believable coming from you. That means there's a unique reason to believe that you can do what you say. Number 4, it's measurable. It performs just like you promised. It's obvious to see. And lastly, it has to be ownable. It can't already belong to somebody else. Okay, now if you haven't guessed already, the dominant selling idea is that big difference that you attach to your name. And when you repeat it relentlessly in all of your messages, customers can't even think of your brand without that difference that sets you apart. Just like Die-Hard batteries, Ziploc bags, Head & Shoulders shampoo, or 5-hour energy. But now you ask, what if the number 1 spot's already taken by a competitor? What do I do then? Just go to Granite Page number 4, the unlimited category rule. There are an unlimited number of categories that people can remember. So if number 1 in your category is already taken by a competitor, no big deal. You can always invent a new category and be number 1 in that. It's done every day in branding. For example, for years, Microsoft was the number 1 giant software company in the world. But 100 other software categories have come along since then. Like Norton, they're the leader in antivirus software, and Quicken is the leader in personal finance software. Oracle is the leader in database software, and Amazon AWS Cloud Services, believe it or not, is number 1 in cloud software. Now, finding a new category to own is even easier because of Granite Page number 5. The universal branding paradox. And it says, the narrower you focus, the wider and farther your message goes. When you say 10 things, you won't even stand for one thing. Instead, always give me that one specific difference that you want to be famous for. Like ADP, the payroll company, or Rolex, the luxury watch, or Duracell, the longest lasting batteries, ESPN, the sports network, and Volvo, safe car. To brand, we have to sacrifice. Trying to own everything instead of owning one thing is the main reason why good companies have really bad brands. And finally, here's Granite Page number 6. Keep this one front and center whenever you're in doubt, everyone. The simple message wins. Now, we've already said this, but it's so important. It's so worth hearing one more time. When you hear that branding is some complex, mysterious art form that only those trained by a secret order of monks should ever undertake, with archetypes, color science, and visioning concepts, remember what my boss at Ted Bates once said. Now, he'd already created some of the most famous TV campaigns of all times, and they wanted to interview him for a Lifetime Achievement Award at this event. The reporter asked, "Can you tell us, sir, your philosophy of advertising?" And Froelich said, "My philosophy? I'll tell you my philosophy. People have a headache. They want it to go away." It was a 10-word interview. Franklin Roosevelt's most famous speech, "A Day That Will Live in Infamy," lasted for about 7 minutes. His advisors insisted that he should speak for at least an hour, but Roosevelt knew better. Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address fit on the back of an envelope. The 10 Commandments, the bedrock of Western civilization, fits on the fingers of 2 hands. In branding, simple beats complex every single time. So listen, inscribe the Granite Pages in your mind and keep them there, because they are the keys to your #1 brand. I'll see you soon.
To learn more, please contact us at brandtitansmastercourse.com or call anytime at 888-826-8486. Join us. At the School of Branding Secrets you can't learn in school.